Hi all, I'm going to make this video tonight. I've got no real plan. Basically going to talk about a few issues that I feel is too important just to put on Facebook. I feel people are actually realising how serious the situation is out there. I just connected to my VPN because I'm trying to go on to a website that I get alternative news from, and somehow, I'm getting this. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with my connection, and it's just basically stopping me getting in there, as you can see. Before I started up the video, I thought I was already on the site, and I closed the window or tapped back. I was going to do something else, but now I can't actually get on there. So what I basically want to talk about, I'll bring up my, let's move this thing out of the way if I can. Let's see if we can bring that over there. Okay, I'll bring up my Facebook page. I've got a good many things that I thought was important for people to know, ranging from really quite a broad spectrum of things. It's like this story here. Basically, it was covering in the States the local police authorities out there having basically the power to seize any of your belongings under a pretense that you gained them belongings in some benefits from crime. You basically, the bunch of police are driving around trying to catch people out, and forfeiture on their houses, the car, any money that's involved, basically taking everything. And I thought that was very worrying, because you can almost find that in any society when really, like the normal police force after drug cartels in the UK here, basically wanting to seize any benefits that, as a drug cartel in this country or something got arrested, found guilty, so any proceeds from the drug industry that they capitalised on would then be just forfeited by the state, which is fine. But what brings this thing a lot further is that there are actual police groups or local authorities in the US actually going around. I say, do go on my Facebook page if you can, and look at these, and hit play, find out what this is all about, because it's not far away from doing the same thing in the UK. I'm sure it really is there already. Now, like I said, I've got a whole range of worrisome topics here, and basically what's really this one, for instance, DeepMind, Google's DeepMind, giving access to patients' data. This is done without any of them patients consent. This is happening today, and no one, I mean, this report was, if I follow the link, yeah, you know, and go back to the original. There's like, yeah, going back on that further reading. We go back in time, like this was dated the 16th, yeah? Now this was dated a year ago. You know, nobody is actually taking note. All the main this was February of last year, you know? And nobody's bothering to actually look at these things, or mainstream media, what a laugh, you know. So I can see these things. You read between the lines when you watch your morning news or evening news in the UK. It's like about stuff that is so trivial, and it toes all the powers that be lines, and as much as what they want you to hear all the time. And there's no investigative journalism, so to speak, in mainstream TV news, or for that matter mainstream radio news. There's nobody. Well, I don't blame them, because you just look at the situation with what's his face, his name, Julian Visage, or whatever, however, please, if I'm getting them wrong, I'm getting them wrong, but just look at his situation. He's protecting the whistleblowers, and basically, if it wasn't for him standing up for what his organisation really believes in protecting his sources, you know, his manhunt, really, his situation, I do feel sorry for him, in as much as how the system is so geared up against the, you know, the everyday person, what they should be getting to hear. You know, it's very worrisome, you know. There's this article here about the Iranian general election that's happening now. I don't know who's actually won. I haven't checked recently, but basically there's been some movement forward, and good for them. You know, the Iranians are sort of trying to bridge the US with basically asking for the US what they call it, sanctions to be relaxed, or, you know, because it's all of a scale. It's all not. It's not geared up fairly at all. You know, the US has got a monopoly on the world's markets to a point where the control of everything is hidden. I mean, I don't really know what to think about Trump at the moment. He's in a very difficult position. I can't really stress enough that he will find things very, very difficult. He is finding things. There is unprecedented attack on his presidency as we speak. I don't really know much about the whole situation there. You know, they're saying he's a commie and all that because he's talked to Putin about, you know, with to do with the presidential elections, and then he fired the head of the FBI. It's all speculation. All this is targeted to undermine his presidency, because I think that he came out and said very much in his manifesto leading up to the election that he was there to change things, and changing things he's trying to do, but I really don't know enough about it. There's not enough facts on the ground to actually make whether he's sincere in making the necessary changes, and because there is hidden power there, and we can all see it through the manoeuvrings of all this hype around the presidency, trying to get him impeached and all the rest of it. So I think there's a very real power struggle there, and it is serious. It is probably the most serious thing that the Americans have faced with that organisation as the president of the United States. Basically, the society is in so much trouble. I mean, the UK one is as well. Don't get me wrong, but there's so much attack on the Constitution itself, and to dilute as many, like with the first story I showed you on my Facebook page, the seizure of several goods. Basically, the people that get seized upon, they have been to court, and they have been found not guilty. There's one person that had I don't know the amount of money, but he had quite a lot of money with him, and he was on his way to buying the house. And all that money he had was forfeited with his motor vehicle and everything, and he had to basically go through a very expensive court trial to actually clear his name, and this is like unbelievable. Really, it really is. It's, and the police powers in America as well. There's this death at your door, knock and talk, police tactics, rip a hole in the Constitution. Basically, if they can, I think this one article zones on a couple in the house. The police are chasing the motorbike in some sort of robbery or some sort, and they find the bike in this neighbourhood. It was like 2 in the morning, something like that, really really early in the morning, and they went house to house, and basically they were banging on this door. And obviously, if you're just fast asleep or at that time of night, you're not expecting that. And he was a licensed gun owner, and he had all the necessary licenses and permits and so on. And he went to somebody banging on your door, not actually saying, "Oh, it's police, open up," or blah blah blah. It's just banging on the door. You're going to be a little bit. You're going to feel threatened. You're going to feel not particularly safe under them pretenses. So, even if you have picked up a baseball bat, but in his case he picked up his sidearm and he had it to his side, and he opened the door, and without any propagation he was shot dead. Now, yes, you could say, would if he not had a gun, would he be shot? Well, if no direct threat excuse me, if no direct threat, it was said that his girlfriend was there present. She was screaming, she like distraught when he was shot. I think about 4 times. There was 6 or 7 shots rung out, and he was shot point blank by a police officer. Now, this there's no comeback from that. There's no sacking offence. There's no. It's just, well, he had a gun, so therefore it's okay to do. And we've had situations in the UK where people, I'm not talking about the terrorist attack as of late or anything in particular, but in general, when armed police go to a scene, the only ever outcome to anything like that, the perpetrators in the media's eyes, or the official story, is that he was shot dead on scene. Simple as. That's it. So you get in a situation where police in pretty much every nation in the world are getting so militarized, so, oh, I'll shoot you now and ask questions after if I can be bothered, sort of thing, which is totally wrong. Police are there to serve, protect. They are there to uphold the law. They are not there to serve out the law. They have no powers in which to do that. Although that might have changed recently. So that's this one. That's look it up. Do any of these things here. Now, this one here is quite interesting. The 11-year-old kid was at a meeting with cybersecurity experts, and he was showing that anything with Wi-Fi can be weaponized. And basically, he had, I think, a Raspberry Pi and there it is, a teddy bear. They operate on Wi-Fi and stuff. And he managed to grab from Bluetooth. He managed to grab all the telephone numbers, and he actually recorded a conversation with a particular bloke in the audience who was unbeknown to what had actually happened, and he was showing this all at the time, and they were absolutely gobsmacked at how simple devices within your home can be weaponized against you. So I thought that was quite an interesting article to put up and make sure everybody is aware. And Wi-Fi, there is a terminology, but I can't really remember it at the moment. But basically anything you have, it could be your Fitwatch, it could be, obviously your smartphones, but then there's smart kitchen appliances. Anything can actually be weaponized against you. I don't mean it in a way that's going to launch a ballistic missile at your head while you turn around or something in the kitchen. It's a means of access in your privacy within your own home without you actually realising that it can be used in that way. Just further heightens the fact that you have no control. It just demonstrates that really quite well, this article. You think the majority of houses throughout the West, really, the world, if not, have Wi-Fi, have appliances that they either wear as Fitwatches and so on, and there's also the games consoles that are actually open 24/7 in your homes if you don't disconnect them from power and or disconnect your router as well. So so I thought that was quite very interesting, and how it would impact everyone's households. I think it's very important actually, because it just gives anybody open access, and particularly as shown within this article, actually explains an 11-year-old kid can do it quite easily. This next article really is to keep the internet free. Well, I think this is already a losing process, to be quite honest, because you know, I got for this. It was dated the 18th when I actually posted it. I can go further up here, and earlier today, early hours of the morning, I came across this. The government just passed the most extreme surveillance law in history. Say goodbye to your privacy. I think that's very much a real. I'm very scared about this actually. It's so extreme that it's very open to abuse by the powers that be. You know, here in the UK we have the most sophisticated CCTV system there is in Europe, the world. And now we have this law being passed. I think it's called the Powers Act or something. Okay? Yeah, Investigatory Powers Act. Okay? Now, I read the article by the Independent. Basically, it's like the same old spiel. It's saying, oh, you know, they can't do it without a warrant and all that. But basically, you know, MI5 and MI6 have been doing it for years on the quiet anyway, and they've never bothered with a warrant round. Are they going to really stop? Actually, it's just an open book for them. They can carry on, and they can do that. They can now insist that the internet service providers actually keep records of all anything that you do via Wi-Fi. You know, when you're connected via your internet service provider, everything you do for 30 days is everything. I mean, everything is recorded. Okay? And they have an open book to that at any time. Just think about that. This is the biggest thing, biggest serious threat to what is our so-called democracy now, under the illusion that it's to counter terrorism. Terrorism that they themselves, the deep government, call it what you will, have orchestrated in the first place. Absolutely diabolical law. And I come across this one. Basically, it's on the same thing, but it just highlights what I feel in the video, the maker of the video. It's the website that I tried to get back onto, which I couldn't for some wideshirt.com, uk.com, .co.uk, and it just had a brilliant, a very nicely put video he made. Just really quite smart, putting May up on the 1984 film where they're all being dumbed down and mind controlled. And I just thought, yeah, blimey, it is 1984. Shit, this is all come true. And we've got to really worry about this because it's law now. The framework is in place and it's open to misuse. It doesn't, you know, they say all these things, the government and powers that be say all these, oh, the safeguards in place, blah blah blah, but you're always finding out that, oh, some Tom, Dick and Harry left some secret information on a train, you know, or bus or whatever. And now when you look, take a step back from all that now, okay, you bear this Powers Act in mind, and then you go back to the NHS, the deep mind thing here. Where is it? Blimey, yeah, deep mind from Google, being given access to 1.4 million patients' details and records without any permission, there's no, like it says, without legal basis. That, to me, is so fundamentally wrong, and yet most of us probably haven't heard of all a little bit of what I've talked about. Really, they've not really taken it seriously at all. They're just in denial that it's happening. You know, it really is a direct assault on our own individual sovereignties, rights, lawful rights that we have. It's an attack on our society. It's an open, outright infringement of individuality within any sphere that you're in, you know, whether it's your, private life, professional, everything is documented now. And this is the start, like I say, this is the start of the end, guys. This really is here now. Anyway, I thought I'd let you know that. And here is just one thing here, that the Tory manifesto, vows to defeat extremism. Now, I'll bring up this article here. I find this, if my Internet Explorer allows me, this is quite serious. This is painted in a way that, oh yeah, that's a good thing. We're against racism. We're against any phobia of kind, and it's a good thing that we're against the terror of fundamentalism in general. Okay. Now, when you have this scenario painted in this way, it's misleading, to say the least. And when you actually read the language, it's very loose, very open book-like, and it actually enables the powers, the police state, sweeping powers, against any demonstrating voice at all. Okay? So if you take this manifesto thing, and actually read it, we will consider what new criminal offences might need to be created. Whoa. And what new aggravated offences might need to be established to defeat the extremists. Now, remember, over here you have the total everybody in the country, whether they're at home or in work or outside in public, being surveyed as well. Not just CCTV, but what you do digitally as well, how you converse with one another. In fact, these powers actually are that broad sweeping, okay, that they can actually go to, like, if I see more, no, if I actually, is it that one or that one? No, okay, sorry about this. If I actually go into the Guardian snippet, I think there was mention like WhatsApps or something, yeah, WhatsApp, an app, that they would stop that app from working. They would enforce it by law because it's not it's a type of technology that they can't actually record anything from. So you can see where this is going. Yeah, you can believe that it is going there because it's the language in which they are using, trying to persuade the people that they're doing it for our own sakes. They are not doing it for our sake at all. We'll come down to the bottom here, defeating extremism. Now, I'll try and read it out as best I can. I'm not the most cleverest of people, but I'll read this passage out. Our entitlement of British diversity must not prevent us from confronting the menace of extremism, which I agree. Any sort of now, before it was terrorists, fundamentalists, but what they've done is taken out the terrorist word from that one sentence. Okay, that, and then in the next paragraph they're adding an Islamist, yeah, element. They're trying to already paint a picture and to enforce the very loose terminology in the first place. They're trying to enforce that this is a good thing, whereas in reality it's actually not. And you go, there's further examples, and read on and on about this. Strip some British people, especially women, they're trying to play upon, like, giving like the situation, let's just say the Saudi Arabia women basically are classed as second class citizens. You know, they basically got no rights and stuff like that. They're trying to play on that morality type of thing with these words. We can't find what I'm actually after. We will consider what new criminal offences might need to be created and what new aggravated offences might need to be established to defeat the extremists. We will support the public sector and civil society in identifying extremists, countering their messages and promoting pluralism or pluralistic British values. And we will establish a commission for countering extremism to identify examples of extremism and expose them to support the public sector and civil society and help the government to identify policies to defeat extremism and promote pluralistic values. Well, this is far-reaching. It's so far-reaching and really quite unclassified how they use the language there. Not that I can read very well, but it just goes to show how serious this situation is when you just take take a breath, step back and look at the larger picture of what's actually happening. This Orwellian thing that 1984, do watch the film because it very much demonstrates to an extreme measure, but it actually demonstrates it very well how the government and powers of today are moulding, if you like, moulding society, making everybody fear or feel unsafe enough, which has been their doing in the first place. They're the ones that to create these monsters of fundamentalists in the first place, with the help of MI5, MI6 and the CIA, FBI and all the other nations' security, information securities, I suppose. So, when you do take a step back and you look at just a couple of these documents and you actually read the language, I've said, yeah, damn, this is open to anything goes, total, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But it's basically a police state, and everything that you do is recorded. You have no privacy, plus the household items that you take for granted, that you have a smart fridge or a smart cooker or this, that and the other, or smart lights, and everything can be made to be a weapon against your freedom and privacy. So it doesn't actually stop with this isn't like a pivot. This moment in time isn't like it's the start of it. There's going to be so much new technology coming out as well, is to actually be presented in a way to the general public as being so wonderful. It's going to do this, that and the other for systems of transport, your own well-being, we're having the introduction of new technology within society will be really quick and fast in the coming years now, because basically they put in these, just the Powers Act and the internet, the browser thing, and taking legislative measures against freedom of using the internet in general. That's more of an open, more public debate, but what's actually happened in the background is that the Powers Act has actually been snuck in quite under that veil, and it's the most important legislation against our own freedoms and sovereignty. individually and as a society, ever known. You know, we all understand when we go out of our door, you know, and walk down the street, we could be filmed. That's fine. But this goes that much further, and you know, when you couple that with how the police state is, how, you know, how our policemen are. You know, I suppose it's more prevalent in London, in central London, where pretty much every officer on the street is armed, has got a firearm. You know, they're becoming more militaristic. And any demonstration of free speech, any demonstrations, is very, very heavily policed. So I think where you get that, you know, what would be the government's view on any demonstration? Are they going to deem it as like extremism because it doesn't toe the line? It doesn't go with what they want to happen. And it's a very serious point, because I don't agree with what is happening to our society at the moment. There's too much bad journalism. It's state controlled. It's misinforming people. It's not actually telling the people what is actually going on in the world, because there's no incentive for any investigative journalism happening, because we've all been in this system so long that we take what the government says. And I highlight that by, let's take the situation of Iraq having stockpiles and stockpiles of WMDs. That's why we're going to war. Okay, Mr. Blair, we go off to war. We'll believe what you're saying. And the same with Bush in America. They're telling you something that isn't true. They're making they're doing that knowingly. They, believe me, Mr. Blair and cronies, Bush and cronies, told you a lie, and they knew it to be a lie. Don't you get it yet? We've been in 3 wars so far, and they don't even call them wars anymore. And I feel for the armed forces, I really do. All sides. This, what's happening in Syria, you've been told one thing and they actually do another. They're actually instigators of the war each and every time. You look at Afghanistan. When Russia was at war with Afghanistan, hey presto, do you know why that war was created? It's because the CIA put as much to bring about this uprising so that and make it Russia's Vietnam, just to weaken the Russia's, back then it was the Soviet Union, just to weaken its situation, which it worked. But then you ask yourself, how far back do you need to go? You know, with the American war, with Vietnam, that was staged off of a false flag. That's how it all began. And you just wonder why all these things, and you're being told a different story by the politicians, by the media, and you're told the same story. In fact, in many cases is scripted. They read from the same script with the headlines, you know. So do bear that in mind. This total television thing that you sit in front of it and you just 9 times out of 10 we're too knackered to even ask or question anything that's being told to us. You just accept it. You know? Majority of you guys have more than one job. You're having to work all the hours just to do what you want to do, just to feel safe and a little bit security in your finances. And this is a deeper thing. This is really very much a deeper situation. It runs very much worse than what I'm just telling you about in this video thing. You know, this article here is very interesting. He puts it in so many, he touches on so much in this video in such a brief space of time, but it's all true in what he's saying. You know, it's all true. And you can see it's true, and it's only after the fact when exposure of 9/11, for instance, and exposure on the original why did Iraq invade Kuwait in the first place. This was known by the US government. They had a meeting where a representative, the Department of Foreign Affairs or whatever representative was there, and Saddam actually said, look, I have full intention of invading Kuwait. What is the United States situation on that? And it was very non-committal, but was promised that the United States would keep out of it, because it was a regional matter. It was affecting the region so much so that at the time Iraq was in, okay, a little bit denying responsibility, but at the same time it was producing a lot of oil for the world at the time. But where it fell short, really, Kuwait was at that point in time, and for a long time before, being #1 provider of the world's oil. It was overdoing what it should by the agreement within OPEC at the time, and basically it was undermining the financial stability of other Arab nations, including Iraq. And this is what Saddam was very aware of, and it was it was becoming very much a detriment to his country. So therefore he invited the states on this and to, you know, instruct of his invading Kuwait, and that's what he was said. So we went ahead and done it, and lo and behold, guess what happened? And why do you think it happened? Well, the states went in there, liberated Kuwait, and hey presto, the states, you know, as part, you know, all the fires of the oil fields, billions of dollars were reinvested under the pretense now that Kuwait and its oil resource is somewhat funded by Western interests now, and that's it. That's why they do it. And then lo and behold, you invade Iraq then, and they haven't invaded Iraq for democratic reasons at all. They've totally destroyed that country. They've totally annihilated it. You know, and you hear back in the Senate with, you know, the Bush is saying we're going to put in $100 million worth to rebuild schools, hospitals. None of that money went there, mate. None of the money went to them. It went to an organisation which was contracted to actually build the schools, maintain the water supplies for the armed forces, and so on and so forth, and basically it just went to waste. You know, and you know, these people that have lied to British and American and the UN Security Councils and the general public have also knowingly. This is just an orchestration since 9/11. Really, everything. 9/11 wasn't done by Bin Laden. Everybody knows that. But people believe it, and then the leaders are saying, "Oh well, you know, especially Mr. Blair. What a liar! Absolute lies." And he should be done for war crimes because these conflicts are illegal. Millions of lives were lost. Iraqi, Syrian, you know, the Syrian conflict isn't what they're telling us it is. It's something a lot deeper than that. You know, the Iranian frictions with the West are Western made. Okay, at times the Iranians have had to stand up for themselves on principle, and rightly so they do. But this is quite a serious thing, and you see the way that powers have orchestrated and made sure and told us one thing, really knowing the other, okay, and still we let them have sweeping powers like this over us. You've got to wake up, wake the fuck up, people. Really, this is happening to our society now. You're going to allow the governments of the day to actually ruin our individual freedoms, and they're doing it every day. I put something up on my Facebook page pretty much every day, okay, that just shows a little bit of insight on what is actually happening, what is going to happen in some cases, what is planned to happen. Anyway, that's what I feel, okay, and I'm very much worried about our futures in the UK, world in general, okay. There's a lot going on in the world that I do feel for President Trump. I may not like him on a personal level, but I can see what he's faced with. What he's trying to do is break the system, in as much as this deep government that they have, this deep, you know, it's like a secret organisation, and he's trying to turn things. I may not agree with all of his policies, but basically that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to break it from within, and I do applaud him in that way, but I do also fear I think that might even be attempts of his life. And it wouldn't be the first time that has happened in an underhanded way, in a very secretive way, by the CIA, FBI, or NSA, whatever you want. Oh, that's another thing, okay. With, I think, you know, the attacks on the internet with the root being accessed by NSA software that was written by NSA, and conveniently, Mr. Gates, designing Windows 10 particularly, made sure that it was these backdoors are made open for surveillance techniques to be planted. So you tell me if it's a conspiracy or not, but it's there, and everybody's no matter what the security measures are, you take the bank situation, you put all your money in the bank and then it goes bankrupt and you lose pretty much all of it. The situation about, like there was on the news today about voice activating your access into your account. That's, these are the type of little things that's going to come out a lot more in technology in the coming years, and it'll be put in such a way that it's beneficial, it's this, that and the other, but believe me, there is going to be all of these new technologies, believe me, start out as a weaponry type being funded by the MOD or the DOD and in the USA. It's all been orchestrated on the devised as a pretense for the defensive or military application. So be very aware of new technology anyway, because the internet was designed by the Department of Defense in the States. I forget the arm of it, but basically it was done by by that same organisation, So I do worry about what's going to come up in the future and how the society is really being dumbed down by the media, by the programs on the media as well. It doesn't help. Now the control, not just with CCTV, but your medical records, what you do at home, you're being surveyed, or you can be surveyed and recorded 24/7 no matter where you are, because there's always Wi-Fi, and if you carry your devices you're always tapped. And don't tell me that this is normal, because it's not. It's very worrying. It's very, very serious, and nobody, it seems to me, nobody is brave enough, bar a handful of people that are actually reporting these in alternative media sites, and like Sir David Icke, for instance, he's been talking about this for 20 odd years, and he's one of the good guys. You have many more in the community of people that know certain things that's going on, and it's not to our benefit, guys. Not to our benefit at all. And I really do stress the seriousness. Do look up these things that I put on my Facebook. Do find out for yourselves. I think somewhere great to start, just for anybody that's listened, and take me seriously, please, that this is now, it's happening now, and it's only going to become a lot worse. and it's going to affect everybody in the world. Great place to start is 9/11. Go on YouTube, look up 9/11, and begin your journey in finding out what is actually happening. What is actually happening to society, how you feel that your freedoms are being whittled down every day, because they are. Anyway, love to all. I hope you take me seriously for when I say I am scared, I am frightened what's happening in society. I think it's the beginning of the end, as we know how things, for our generation, all we have to do is talk to our parents and see how many things they had good going in society, and look at society today. Okay, that's me done. Thank you guys for listening, and until next time, good luck with your search, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.